Oh, what? Why? What? So, oh, right. Sorry. I forgot I'm not corner booth. Oh, Lord. All right. Well, welcome to No Credentials Required Friday Happy Hour, presented by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media, at least locally. So, just want to remind you, first of all, to go to our social channels. And tonight, we're actually streaming on just Facebook, not just YouTube, but also now on Twitter. So, that being said, go to our social channels on Twitter and Instagram at BellyUpNCR, Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsNCR. Finally, on YouTube, get my pretty face out of the way here. There we go. On YouTube, no credentials required. If you're watching on YouTube right now, click on the notification bell. That way you know when the show goes live on Friday nights. So, also want to bring to your attention the fact that No Credentials Required now has a store. We now have an apparel store. It's pretty cool. I'm going to share it with you right now. This is it. The folks at Bonfire have now partnered up with Belly Up Sports, so a lot of podcasts are now selling their own merchandise. That includes my podcast, No Credentials Required, which you can find right here. Scroll down just a bit. Right now, got some mostly shirts right now. We've got the premium unisex tee. We got the pullover hoodie, or as they call it in Saskatchewan, a bunny hug. Classic unisex tee. 3/4 sleeve baseball tee, which I'm particularly excited about. And finally, women's slim fit tee. So for all the ladies who want to represent the show, you now have a t-shirt to do so. But let me take you over to just show you some of the colors we have. So there's an array of sizes. So let me go ahead and show you the premium unisex tee right now. We got heavy metal, ice blue, indigo, royal blue, and midnight navy. So look at these shirts, quality shirts, quality printing. Bonfire, my designer at Bonfire, my sign designer, give a big shout out to Hannah. She was awesome to talk to. She led me through the process, and we working with her on some designs for the future. So right now it's just a belly up. It's just the No Credentials Required logo. Right now the heavy metal's only available until you see the sizes down here. Let me show you some of the other colors. Ice blue. Look at that's a neat color. That's an awesome color. They don't have my size, unfortunately, but I might have them in your size. You never know. Got indigo. We got royal blue. So any Albany Empire fans want to represent the podcast and Empire colors. Look at that shirt. That is amazing. Finally, we got midnight navy. I got the pullover hoodie. So we got this in charcoal, dark heather, indigo, navy, which is actually also pretty impressive. So if you're a Syracuse fan, although no, we're not in Syracuse, you got yourself a nice similar type shirt for with Syracuse colors, and then of course royal blue. Got the classic unisex tee, which comes in charcoal, dark heather, indigo, royal, and Carolina blue. I decided to mix up a little bit. Carolina blue looks sharp. That looks sharp. 3/4 sleeve tee. Mixed it up a little bit here. So we got the usual premium heather and heather white, black and heather white. Like I said, I'm particularly excited about this one because I love 3/4. I don't know why. I love 3/4 sleeves because it just comes up to here, and you're pretty much free. So you have the back, and here's the back. That's what the back looks like. It's just a blank back right now. This side makes up a little bit. Do it purple rush and heather white for any UAlbany fans out there. Indigo and heather white. And then finally, vintage royal blue. And then finally, the ladies' colors. Ladies' colors, we got the usual dark gray. We got indigo. We got midnight navy. We got royal. And then finally, I decided to mix it up and do an espresso t-shirt. So various sizes, various colors. You've got your pick. You've got 5 shirts to choose from. Right now, this is an initial campaign, so hopefully make this permanent in the future. That way you can go out and support the show. I mean, look at quality stuff, folks. I dig it. I'm actually got a shirt on the way. As soon as the campaign ends and the ship out, get yourself a nice t-shirt. Get yourself a nice t-shirt. Get yourself a hoodie. I'm gonna get myself a hoodie. I got to represent my own show. Got to market myself out there, So go ahead and go to bonfire.com/store/no-credentials-required, or you can just go to bonfire.com, click, type in no credentials required, and it takes you right to the page, right to the campaign page. Exciting stuff happening here. And I'm thinking about doing some campaigns for charity too. So I know my buddy Parker Ainsworth from the FN Sports podcast. He's got a pink t-shirt on sale right now, with the design says "Flunk Cancer." Very clever, digging his stuff. FN Sports, go check out his podcast. It's pretty fun. I've been on a couple times, but yeah, I mean, this one way to support the show. We got a myriad of ways to support the show here. That's one of those ways you can do so, along with buy some stuff from our affiliates here at No Credentials Required. I'll do you a solid and let you know who one of those affiliates is later in this program. All right, so that's gonna be it for selling myself right now. So as usual, we get to our beer of the week, and this is probably going to be the last beer of the week for October. And the reason why is because I'm going to participate in Sober October for the first time ever. So you're probably saying at home, yeah, right, you're not going to participate in Sober October. You can't stop drinking for a day. Actually, I can, and I will. But I know there are several comedians and podcast hosts who do Sober October. Some of my favorites, Joe Rogan, Bert Kreischer, Tom Segura. They all do Sober October. I may not be a comedian, but I'm a podcast host, and a pretty good one at that, if I might say. So I'm going to go ahead and participate in Sober October. I'm going to increase my workouts. I'm going to try to do a workout every single day. During October, 31 days, October 30th to the 31st. 30 days is not a problem. I've quit drinking before. It's not a big deal. And that's the one thing. It's like sometimes, I've got a family history of alcohol controlling, of people in my family who have alcohol controlling their lives. And I feel if you're letting something control your life, you're letting it become an idol. That's my personal belief as a Christian. Beer is meant to be enjoyed, like anything in life. Any kind of small pleasure is meant to be enjoyed, not put on your pedestal, because if it becomes a pedestal, it becomes your object of worship. And that's no bueno. That's no bueno. But usually, this is my last beer of the week for this month. Next month, we're going sober. So maybe I'll bring some folks on at Invader Coffee again, who's another one of our affiliates here at No Credentials Required. Probably bring someone on to explain about coffee and the coffee industry. It'll be pretty fun. But yeah, usually I'm doing a local beer, but tonight I decided to do Guinness. And the reason why I'm doing Guinness is because today is the anniversary of the birth of one Sir Arthur Guinness. And Guinness was one of my first beers. I didn't like at the time because I didn't have the draft stout. I had the extra, the foreign extra, and it just didn't taste good. But I had the draft, and the draft was, draft's amazing. Draft is amazing. But give you a little bit of history here, and I'm going to crack this open. So here it is, Guinness. Guinness gives back, and because you got to drink Guinness with an authentic Guinness glass. Got this for Christmas one year. Got another set for my birthday one year too. So let's crack one open. Here's to the weekend, folks. The last beer of the week for the month. Till at least November. All right, I'm grabbing a glass here. There's a special trick on how to drink Guinness from the glass. So here we go. Bottoms up. Watch that beautiful flow. I mean, my goodness. My goodness, my goodness. Go slow pour. Oh yeah, there it is. This thing is, look at the flow. Look at that flow. I may not have flow here, but I have flow here. Look at that. That is beautiful. This river, this rain of goodness flowing down. It's a holy drink, my friends. And I'll give you a little bit of history lesson about Arthur Guinness. So, Arthur Guinness, he started a brewery, of course. That's why I'm drinking. That's why we're drinking his beer. But he was also a Christian. He was also a believer, and he prayed to God to kind of to do something about the alcoholism in Ireland. And yeah, there's a stereotype of the Irish drunk, but it was no more prevalent. That it was so much more prevalent then in the 1700s. And he's trying to think of a way to try to not so much eliminate the drunkenness, but just to bring it down. And at the time, people were drinking a lot of whiskey, a lot of gin, because the rivers in Ireland were so dirty because of all the sewage and all the other stuff going into the River Liffey. So he was called by God to make beer, to be a brewer. So he did. He started making a dark stout beer, which is what this is. Then stouts are a type of porter, for those of you who don't know. And the thing is that the water that Guinness was made from had so much iron, people felt full before they could drink more pints of Guinness. That's why it's called a stout. And I am what I drink, and tonight I'm stout. So, and also with Guinness, it has a low ABV. Typical beers are usually about 5 or 6, and this, I think Guinness is only a 4.2 ABV. So, but the thing is, it has low alcohol, but it makes you feel full faster because of the amount of iron that this has. And this can has the widget in here that gives it its heft, and keeps it fresh. So one of the things he did when he was accumulating all this cash making beer is that he helped set up the first Sunday schools in Ireland. And those of you who grew up in the church or still go to church, you know about Sunday school. Sunday school is usually the precursor to, or the additional class after worship, after assembly of worship. And he decided to start funding, and he was a Wesleyan, and he decided to start funding the Sunday schools in Ireland. And at the time, there were just as many Roman Catholics as there were Protestants then. That's a little more split, depending on where you go. He's a very devout Christian and wanted to help his neighborhood. He wanted to help get rid of the alcoholism. He wanted people to be less dependent on alcohol, and they wanted people to start going to church. And that's what he did. And he created this beer, and his legacy lives on. And he had other relatives follow in his stead. His grandson Henry Grattan Guinness became an evangelist in the same, I guess, in the same. If you know who C.S. Spurgeon is, he's often compared to him. Henry Guinness is often compared to him. Os Guinness is the great nephew. He's also an evangelist, and apologist. He's also a descendant of Arthur Guinness. Now, before you bore details, they have a legacy, and their legacy was to be a good citizen to your neighborhood by literally brewing up a business, helping people get employed, helping people get off get off the drink. Although you were allowed to enjoy one pint after work, but again, that's usually why he, people are drinking all the time. You work, you get your pint, you go home to your wife and kids. Pretty simple, and you're not drunk. So here's to Arthur Guinness. May his legacy live on with his drink and his ministries. Toast to you. Also, toast to you out there listening and watching. Here's to the weekend. Cheers. All right. So, before we continue on with the episode, let me go ahead and get a word from our sponsor, locally with Godzilla Media, and that is with Mohawk Honda. The current supply and demand challenges within the auto industry. Let me start over. The current supply and demand challenges within the auto industry makes this a perfect time for you to get a top dollar for your vehicle. Right now, Mohawk Honda, you can take advantage of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash offer. They will put cash in your hand for your vehicle the same day you come in, even if you don't buy from them. It's a pretty sweet deal, especially for those recent college grads or students in need of a new ride or some extra cash. Mohawk Honda has consistently kept their lot fully stocked with hundreds of pre-owned vehicles. Their large inventory makes shopping fun as you browse through the many makes and models to choose from. You can also check out their full selection online at mohawkhonda.com. Stop in and say hi to Greg Johnson, the assistant manager, Jake Hot Sauce Doyle, Louis, the VIP man Morales, or one of the many helpful sales consultants at Mohawk Honda. I'll give a testimony to this. My sales consultant, Kyle, he was awesome. He helped me get into my current car, which is a 2016 Honda HR-V, certified pre-owned Honda. Great car, great sales, great staff. Go there. There's a vast selection of Honda certified pre-owned vehicles. So now is the time to take advantage of the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash offer. Mohawk Honda, Freeman's Bridge Road in Glenville, will they always go out of their way to please you? They go out of their way to please you. All right, so let's get into some sports talk, friends. Let's start with the Major League Baseball picture right now. There are some games going on that will affect the playoff race. So let's take a look at the standings right now. I'm going to share the screen with you. Baseball standings. All right, here we go. American League East, that is still up for grabs in a way. Right now, Tampa's in first place. They've clinched a playoff spot. They have not clinched the division yet. And the reason why is because the Boston Red Sox are 6 games behind them in the standings. The Yankees are 8 back. Toronto's 9 back. Baltimore, well, you can see that it's 48 games. But there's a 4-team race right now in the AL East. Tampa Bay's been in the driver's seat since around the All-Star break. Boston was in the driver's seat for a while. They went on a slide, the major slide, and they've come back. Boston's come back to their credit. They've come back. They've won their last 7 in a row. They currently control the first wild card spot, which I'll get to in a moment. But then you get the Yankees riding their heels. They're actually playing each other right now. So big series right now in Boston between the Yankees and the Red Sox. I think if the Yankees can take 2 out of 3, their chances of going to the wild card play-in is very strong. If they can host one, that'd be better because it's like Yankees, the friendly confines of Yankee Stadium. Toronto had a big surge late August, went on their big winning streak. I think basically since they came home to Canada, like they went home to play in Toronto, they've gotten this big monster streak. Vlad Guerrero Jr. is in the MVP picture with Shohei Ohtani. It's gonna be between the both of them for AL MVP, but he's been a big part. Their pitching's been on point, and their Boston Yankees, Toronto 1, 2, 3 in the wild card right. I believe they're in the wild card right now. AL Central, White Sox clinched last night. They'll host they'll have a playoff series host a playoff series of their own. Cleveland's 10 games behind them. Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota, they're all eliminated from playoff contention. AL West, it still makes me angry, but it is what it is, folks. Houston's in first, 91-62. They have a 7-game control. They have a 7-game lead over Seattle, who is surprisingly in second place. I thought that Seattle would, maybe Seattle's taking a leap a year or so earlier than we expected. They haven't been in the playoffs since I think 2001. They currently ride the longest streak of missing the playoffs, not being in the playoffs. The last appearance was I think either 2000 or 2001. So that streak may or may not continue depending on how far back they are in the wild card. Their cursed number. So we have a magic number, we have a cursed number. It's down to 3. Oakland, they're in third place. Their elimination number is down to 1. LA Angels of Anaheim. I can't wrap my head around the Angels, solely because they have so much offensive talent on their team. Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. Those are the two main drivers. I mean, although Mike Trout's been out since I think around May with a calf injury that doesn't seem to want to heal. But when he's in the lineup, they're much better. But their pitching is just abysmal. And as you can see in the 93 run differential, that's not good. Texas, last place. They've been eliminated from the playoff chase for a while. All right, moving on to the National League. Atlanta, first place. 2 games behind them are the Philadelphia Phillies, though. I think that comes down to the last week. I think it comes down to the last week of the season. Their elimination games mark is down to 9. New York Mets. Oh, so sorry for Mets fans. I feel so sorry for Mets fans. They had so much hope coming into this season. They had so much hope in trying to put it all together. And they had it for a while. They were in first place for a little bit, and then all of a sudden June hit and the bottom just came out. And they are 4 games away from elimination in the East. Miami, playoff team last year, not so much this year. And Washington, I'm beginning to think they've kept the wrong person. In 2019, after they won the World Series in 2019, they had a very, very difficult choice to make. Do they keep Steven Strasburg, who was basically their number 2 behind Max Scherzer at the time, or do they keep Anthony Rendon? And they kept Strasburg and they let Rendon go to the Rangers. And I think that was a big mistake. So, and it kind of reflects in the last couple of seasons. They missed the playoffs last year, and they're going to miss the playoffs completely. They're 20 games behind Atlanta as we record. NL Central, Milwaukee, they've clinched the division. St. Louis, 7 games behind. Their elimination number is 3 in terms of wild card contention. They're followed by Cincinnati, the Cubs, and the Pirates, the lowly Pirates. Again, they're probably going to lose 100 games. Excuse me there. The Central Milwaukee is they're juggernaut in the division. Then finally come to the NL West. San Francisco and the Dodgers, they've both clinched playoff berths. However, the Dodgers are only a game behind. They're only a game behind. And San Diego, people had a lot of pundits, myself included, had the Padres in a wild card spot or winning the division, and they were on their way in May. They were challenging the Dodgers. They were, and it's funny, like the team that you think is going to make the leap, they're going to make the leap, and they're going to overtake the Dodgers. It wasn't the Padres; it was the Giants. Almost nobody saw that coming. I think the Giants. I think they had themselves a. I think if you bet $5 and they went to win the division, it was crazy odds. But the Giants right now, I don't think anybody saw them coming. Colorado, Arizona, they round up the bottom 2 in the NL West. Arizona, my goodness, 104 losses. Run differential of 218. Oof. Oof. So that's your divisional. Let's look at the wild card. AL division leaders, you got Tampa, Houston, Chicago, White Sox. White Sox have clinched the division. Houston's on the verge of clinching the division. Tampa Bay, they're still fighting off Boston. AL wild card, Boston's at 1, Yankees at 2. They're Boston's 2 ahead in the wild card. Right behind the Yankees are Toronto. Right behind Toronto is Seattle, and then Oakland's right behind them. So what's interesting is that they have, and what's pretty cool about MLB.com is that they have the division elimination and they have the wild card elimination. So right now, Oakland stands at 6 games from being eliminated from contention. Now, here's the interesting part. If you look at the standings, Seattle is 2 games back from that last wild card spot. Their run differential is minus 53. So they're one of the only teams. Actually, I stand corrected. They're the only 2 teams who are in contention for the wild card spot that have a run differential below. Seattle, the run differential is 707 to 654. They've allowed 53 more runs than they have scored. That's a pretty amazing stat. So Oakland, they're 6 games away from being eliminated. So, and Seattle is at 8. Toronto's at 9. But I think these 3 teams right here, Boston, Yankees, Toronto, that's going to be a wild run to the finish. Yankees have, oh my goodness. The Yankees play Boston, Toronto, and Tampa in succession over the last 2 weeks of the season. And they have been absolutely awful, apocalyptically awful against the AL East this year in their own division. And they can't seem to buy a win in that division. So these next 3 series coming up for the Yankees are very, very, very important. Toronto, they got Minnesota. Let's look at the Toronto schedule real quick. They have Minnesota this weekend. Then they have the Yankees. They're at home against the Yankees. And to wrap up the year, they're at the Orioles. So it's very possible they could overtake the Yankees in that second, or maybe take the first wild card spot. We don't really know. The only predictable thing about the future is that it's unpredictable. I've been saying that all week to my friends at Belly Up Sports, and I'm going to say it again. I'll probably repeat it to the day I die. Thank you, Andrew Clavin, for that. for that. Boston, their schedule looks like this. They have the Yankees this weekend. They have the Orioles next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And to wrap up the year, they got the Nationals. So they have a pretty easy schedule going forward past this weekend. Evaldi's pitching tonight, which means that the Yankees are probably going to lose. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. The Yankees had some success back in August when they finally got the schneid with the Red Sox. Seattle, let's look at their schedule real quick. They can see if they can keep in contention. Come on, go away. Go away, screen. Yeah, so schedule. Their schedule is as follows. They recently swept the A's in 4 straight. They play the Angels this weekend. They're at the Angels this weekend. And they're at home against the A's again, and they wrap up at home against the Angels to complete their 2021 season. Oakland, I think Oakland is just going to miss out. I think Oakland will just miss out. All right. National League wild card. We have the 3 division leaders right now. San Francisco, Milwaukee, Atlanta. Milwaukee's clinched the division. I'm sorry. I stand corrected. They've clinched a wild card spot. They've clinched a playoff spot. They have not clinched a wild card just yet, or a championship just yet in their division. Although they're up 7 games on St. Louis, so anything could happen. Right now, the wild card looks like this: Dodgers, who are only a game behind the Giants right now, they own the primary wild card spot. St. Louis has come roaring back. They're now in the catbird seat for the second playoff spot. They have won 13 games in a row. It's one of the longest winning streaks in baseball this year. 13 games in a row. That is amazing. Philadelphia's behind them in fifth with 5 games back. Cincinnati's 4 games back, as is San Diego. San Diego and Cincinnati, their elimination number is down to 4. Philadelphia's is down to 5. I think St. Louis is going to just. I think they're going to win out. They might not be. They might stay undefeated. They might stay unbeaten for the rest of the season. That's why I see postseason tickets go on sale, which is funny because I had the same email for the Yankees this morning from them. So their schedule for the St. Louis Cardinals. Look at that, 13 in a row. They beat the Padres. They swept the Brewers, who were in the lead in the Central. They got a doubleheader today against the Cubs. They actually won the first game 8-5. So they have the Brewers next week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then finally to wrap up the season, they have the Cubs again. So I think they have a very good chance of getting that second playoff spot. They won't catch either St. Louis. I'm sorry, they won't catch either LA or San Francisco. But speaking of San Francisco, who, fun fact, started in Troy, New York, back in the late 1800s. They were known as the Troy Trojans. Moved to New York, became the Gothams, then they became the Giants. Then they moved to San Francisco. Now they're the San Francisco Giants. You're welcome for that extra history lesson tonight. Be thankful I'm not charging you. So they have so there's the Giants schedule. They get the Rockies. They're at the Rockies this weekend. The Diamondbacks next weekend. To wrap things up for the regular season, they have the Padres. So I think they win at least 5 out of 6 between their games against the Rockies and the Diamondbacks. And outside of Buster Posey, I can't name one San Francisco Giant. I'll have to do some more research on them. I'm a bad baseball fan, folks. Let's just put it that way. I'm a bad baseball fan. So speaking of the West, let's take a look at the Dodgers schedule as soon as my browser stops being stupid. Come on, Google. Get your stuff straight. This thing. So the Dodgers are on their mission to repeat as champions. Here's their schedule for the rest of the season. They're at the Diamondbacks, at home against the Padres. Wrap up the season. They face the Brewers. Ooh, that's gonna be a saucy series right there. So Dodgers have, I think they have a tougher road ahead of them in the division standing, in the division race. So, all right. So here's how I see things going down. Tampa's going to win the division, and Tampa's going to win the AL East. They currently hold the home and field advantage right now in the American League, followed by Houston, followed by the White Sox. Wild card, I think it's going to be Boston, and I hate this. This pains me because it's been such a roller coaster season for the Yankees and their fans, mostly their fans. I think Boston and Toronto get the 2 wild card spots, and the Yankees will lose out because they can't seem to win against the AL East this year. And I think the Aaron Boone experiment in New York is over. So that's my humble opinion. I could be wrong. If Brian Cashman finds a way to convince Hal Steinbrenner to keep him around, I think that it's going to be weird. It's going to be a weird offseason. It's going to be a weird offseason for the Yankees. There's going to be a lot of things happen if they don't make the playoffs. NL, I've got San Francisco winning out. They're going to have home field advantage, followed by Milwaukee and Atlanta. I think LA and St. Louis win those 2 wild card spots unless Philadelphia somehow makes a run and St. Louis somehow drops like their next 8 out of 10. And when Philadelphia goes perfect for the rest of the year. Actually, you know what? Let's look at Philadelphia's schedule. Ugh, these pop-ups, I swear. All right. So here's here's the Phillies schedule, and there's some debate on whether or not Bryce Harper is an MVP candidate. Sure, why not? They got the Pirates in the 4-game series this weekend. They have the Braves next week, and then to close out the year, they have the Marlins. So Philly's got to win out. Philly has to win out for the rest of the season in order to try to make the playoffs with a wild card spot. And again, this is my problem with the wild card. This is why we need to expand the playoff race in Major League Baseball. And I know, and I said this last week, and I'll mention it again. More teams means more excitement. Split the season into 50 games each. The winners from those 50 games, they go on automatically. They have 5 at-large bids in terms of the standings, and then you play out. You just play the rest of the season out. So that's my feeling. So my feeling for next week when the season ends, again, I got Tampa, Houston, Chicago, Boston, Toronto. Again, it hurts my heart to say that. And it's going to stay the same. It's going to stay the way we are with the NL. Giants, Brewers, Atlanta, Dodgers, and St. Louis, which I think will be a very fun wild card. We have just pray it's not like one of those games where Max Scherzer goes out there, dominates for 7 innings, and the Dodgers just completely blow away the Cardinals. I kind of want the Cardinals to win out, so kind of an amazing story. All right, so let's move on to. I've only got about 22, 23 minutes, so let's talk about my next subject, which is going to hockey. Training camp started this week. I'm excited to watch hockey again, a full season of hockey this time, going from regular proper October through May/June for the playoffs. But this came about, and this came about yesterday. The Jack Eichel, who is I guess you could call him the erstwhile Sabre, Buffalo Sabre, got hurt last year. He's still having some trouble with a herniated disc in his back or hernia, and he can't play right now. And then Buffalo had their team doctors debate Eichel's personal doctors about the matter last year, and let's just say that they're at odds, and Jack Eichel does not want to be a Buffalo Sabre anymore. So yesterday came out that that Eichel failed his physical. Well, I'm going to put in quotation marks, failed his physical, because we don't know if he failed his physical, if he did it on purpose, or Buffalo their doctors deliberately failed him. And he was stripped of his captaincy. He's no longer the captain of the Buffalo Sabres. It looks as if he's probably going to be on his way out, according to, me as a speculator. But who knows? It's one of 2 reasons why Eichel is still in Buffalo. First reason is Buffalo's asking for too much. They wanted a king's ransom for him. I predicted this in an article. I've made this known several times that Jack Eichel's not going to come cheap. Phrasing. He's not going to come with a price. And that's going to be at least 2 first round picks, maybe a second, and a current player on whichever roster they trade him to. Whether it be the Rangers, please don't let it be the Rangers, the Kings, or my dark horse pick for Jack Eichel, the Detroit Red Wings. They're my dark horse pick to get him because they have a crap ton of cap money still remaining from this past offseason. But this question, that's one of 2 things. So Eichel is either going to, or Buffalo's asking too much, or too many teams are just, they're kind of questioning things. That they're trying to figure out whether or not whether it's worth the risk to have Eichel play half a season because he's got to have surgery. So this kind of question came up to my mind. I thought about it and I popped it in with from our folks at Belly Up Sports. Is Jack Eichel the American Taylor Hall? And this is what I'm going with. So some people say no, he hasn't been on enough teams. He's only been on 1 team. But let me make my argument here. Let's go to Hockey Reference for a moment. We'll go to Taylor Hall's page. In the league in 2011, was the number one pick overall in 2010. For the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For the first seven seasons, he did not make a playoff appearance. Now let's look at Jack Eichel real quick. I'm going to duplicate this tab. Go to Jack Eichel. EI. Okay. Number 2 overall pick, 2013 draft. I'm sorry, 2015 draft. Nice hair. And he's been in the league 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons, including last year's short season. So 6 seasons in Buffalo for Eichel, no playoff appearances. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 seasons. Well, 6 seasons in Edmonton, 1 season in New Jersey, no playoff appearances. This is where the comparison comes in. Both players, one's the number 1 pick overall, one's number 2 pick overall. Both of them are on terrible teams. Edmonton at that time was a tire fire. They kind of, in a way, they still are, but they're getting there. They're getting there. I think they're probably a goaltender short. I think they may make some goaltending changes, but no matter. So first 7 seasons, Taylor Hall, he gets traded to New Jersey. So that famous 1-for-1 trade for Adam Larson doesn't pan out for Edmonton, at least for a while. Taylor Hall spends a year in New Jersey. Says 1 year in New Jersey. He scores 53 points. The next season is when he has his all-star season. First, he has 93 points, which is the all-time single-season record for the New Jersey Devils. Gets into the playoffs as an 8 seed. He's Hart Trophy winner. After that, things kind of go into a tailspin, unfortunately. Hurt the next year, only plays 33 games. Then he plays 30 games for the Devils in 2019-2020, gets traded to Arizona for that season. He goes to the playoffs again. Then he signs with Buffalo in the postseason for the 2021 season. Trade to Boston. He contributes and helps Boston earn the 3 seed in the playoffs and makes it out of the first round. So he's getting there. He re-signed with Boston, so he's looking to go to the playoffs again, and he'll get there. He'll be in the playoff. He'll be in the playoffs next year. Eichel, same comparison. Breakout year in 2019 with 82 points. Buffalo almost made the playoffs. Didn't come close in 2020. Certainly didn't come close in 2021. So where am I going with this? I think in order for Jack Eichel Jack Eichel is the American Taylor Hall because he was highly touted coming out of University of Boston University. He played for Boston University for I think 2 seasons, and then he was drafted and became a Buffalo member of the Buffalo Sabres. He had a breakout season 2019. He was set to help Buffalo go to the playoffs in 2020, and then 2021 got hurt, and things just didn't materialize. And things are not materializing fast enough for him to want to stay in Buffalo. He's got, I think, $50 million left on his contract, 5 years left on that 8-year, $80 million deal he signed a couple years ago. He comes out with a high price tag. Taylor Hall did the same. It was the same way. He had a high price tag on him too. The Devils were willing to part ways with a defenseman they drafted number 1 overall in 2012. I want to say 2011 or 2012 or 2010. Can't remember off the top of my head, but they were willing to trade an excellent player to get value. And I think somebody out there is going to say, We got to bring him in. He's going to be a big difference for our team, whether it be the Rangers. Again, please God, don't let it be the Rangers. The Kings goes out west, helps LA make the playoffs, goes to Detroit. They're my sleeper pick. Remember, they're my sleeper pick to pick Eichel. They make, and I think Detroit's on the cusp of a playoff bid. They just need one more guy to kind of get them over the top. And I think Stevie Yzerman, GM, did wonders in Tampa Bay. He's trying to do the same thing for Detroit. We played for 20 something years. I think Detroit pulls the trigger and gets them. My opinion. Stranger things have happened. But I think right now, comparatively speaking, although Taylor Hall's played for more teams, he's been in the league longer. Comparatively speaking, yes, Jack Eichel is the American Taylor Hall. And until somebody gets him out of purgatory, also known as Buffalo, he's going to stay there. So, my opinion, I think again, he's gonna be shipped out of there, but we just don't know when, we just don't know where, or for how much, or if a team's willing to take the risk for him. So we'll see. All right, we'll go to my week 3 picks for the NFL in just a second. Want to read a word from one of our sponsors at No Credentials Required, and that is La Touraine Watches. Founder Dave has been a watch enthusiast since he was 14 years old when he saved his allowance to buy a military style watch. Since then, his enthusiasm has grown into an obsession, and last year he started La Touraine Watches. For many of us, money is tight these days, and Dave and the watchmakers at La Touraine understand the importance of quality watches for the best value. So, they've released a line of luxury watches at non-luxury prices. Get your start with the Compass. Dress yourself up with the Red Crest, or if you really want to treat yourself, consider the Voyager 1893. In addition to watches, La Touraine also makes lava bead and ice stone bracelets, and 50% of the profit from every bracelet sold goes to the Levine Children's Hospital in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's pretty cool. La Touraine also sells accessories such as watch bands, bags, and sunglasses. Visit La-Touraine, that's spelled TOURAINE.com, and at checkout, enter promo code NCR for 10% off your order. I've seen some of those watches on LaTouraine.com, and they look pretty spectacular. I might get one for myself sometime. Maybe if I get enough shirt money, I'll get a watch. All right, we're gonna move on quickly to week 3 picks. Last night, Carolina improved to 3-0 by beating Houston 20-9. Sam Darnold, kind of wish he was still a Jet, but I can't. I wish him all the success in the world. Even though the Jets didn't treat him well, he had 300 passing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. I think. Oh, he had one rushing touchdown. Anywho, but for Carolina, good for them. Carolina was my dark horse team coming into this year, so I think so. Good on them. They're having themselves a good year so far. All right, so moving on to the picks of the week. Let's start off with the 1:00 games. We got a bunch in the tablet. So Washington at Buffalo, 1:00 start. Washington at Buffalo. The red team placing the Bills at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, not Rich Stadium or Highland Stadium or Highmark Stadium. Said it last night on the corner booth pregame. It's worth repeating tonight on No Credentials Required Happy Hour. Take Washington. I think it's going to be that's my upset special for this week. Washington. I think Buffalo's got some injuries in the Buffalo's got some injuries in the secondary. It worries me a little bit. It should worry you if you're a Bills fan. I know they had a big week last week against the Dolphins in Miami. That's the Dolphins. They usually beat the Dolphins. But Taylor Heineke likes to sling the ball around. And I think with so much trouble going on in the backfield in the secondary for the Bills, a little bit injuries. I feel that Washington is prone for is going to upset them. I think Washington gets the upset here. I'm taking the Reds. I'm sorry, Taking the red team. Almost slipped there. Chicago at Cleveland. Bears at Browns. Again, it's a 1:00 start. Fox on Fox. I'll take the Browns. Justin Fields gets his first start. If I'm gonna making his first start in the NFL, but I guess his Brown defense is gonna be tough sledding. I think the Browns will use their running game to their advantage. They got 2, maybe 3 running backs who can run the ball. I think I'm gonna take Cleveland in this game. Baltimore at Detroit. Detroit's a lot tougher than people think. Baltimore is coming off that high from that Sunday night win against Kansas City. They finally beat Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes for the first time in a couple of years. I'm gonna have another upset here. I think Detroit gets their first win. I think Dan Campbell gets his first win as a head coach. Baltimore, they're like the Bills. They're too banged up right now. Running back and corner and secondary, and I'm just feeling like they need they're prone to be beat. So I'm going to take the Lions in this one. Indianapolis at Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee. I'm taking Tennessee in this one. Solely the fact that Derrick Henry had a monster game last week. I think he's going to repeat it. I think Tennessee is starting to get the momentum, and I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. Chargers at Kansas City. The Chargers know how to. The Chargers are kind of like the Jets in a way, in that they know how to beat themselves. Now, it's very evident last week against the Cowboys. I think Kansas City is going to be pissed off from last week's loss when they were up by so much, and they let that lead slip away to lose by 1 point. I think the Chiefs are going to rally in this one. They're going to take this one. I think they'll win easily. New Orleans at New England. Oh, that's a tough one too. I'm taking New England in this one, only based solely on the fact that Belichick is going to make Winston James throw, I think, 3 more picks. Winston's coming back to earth, I think, a little bit, but I could be wrong. But I think New England, on offense, they manage the game enough where they use the run and take the pressure off Mac Jones. I think Belichick beats Sean Payton again. Taking the Pats in this one. Again, it hurts my heart to say that because I'm a New York Jets fan. Atlanta at the Giants. Giants. It's gonna be a high. I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. If I'm honest, Atlanta's got a good offense. Giants have a pretty good offense if their receivers don't keep dropping the ball. I think the Giants will do enough defensively to force enough turnovers from the Falcons. I think the Giants take this one in a high scoring game. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. I'm going for the upset again. I'm going to say Bengals. From what I looked at in the highlights last week for the Raiders and Steelers look slow. It looks slow. I mean, they got Najee Harris at running back, great. They got some wide receivers, but they just look slow. And their defense is good, but they're prone to make mistakes. And I think Joe Burrow will do just enough to limit his own mistakes to overcome Pittsburgh. I think I'm going to take Cincinnati in this one. Arizona at Jacksonville. Arizona. No. Arizona. They're going to run all over. Their offense is too good. Their defense is too fast. Take Arizona. Yeah, just take Arizona. All right, here we go. The 4:00 and 4:25 games. Jets at Denver. There's a couple ways the Jets can beat the Broncos, but they're not going to do it. They need to get Denzel Mims on the field. They're not going to do it. They need to take the Mile High crowd out of it. They're not going to do it. They need to limit. Zach Wilson needs to limit his mistakes. He's not going to do it. Denver's defense is. They stop the run. They're going to stop the run, and the Jets need to get the run game going. They should have kept it going against the Patriots last week. They deviated from it. They try to get Zach Wilson involved in the game again. It's just no. It's Denver's home opener. They're 2-0. They'll probably go 3-0. Take Denver in this one. Again, my heart hurts. Oh, I laughed through the pain. All right, Dolphins at Raiders. I'm taking the Raiders. Raiders are good. The Raiders are good. Surprisingly good. From that Monday night win against Baltimore, they go to They travel to Pittsburgh, an early day game, away from their crowd in Las Vegas. Beat they beat Pittsburgh handily. Very surprised at that. They're playing Miami, who is starting Jacoby Brissett. Take the Raiders. Take the Raiders, folks. Tampa Bay at the Rams. This is going to be the game of the week. This is going to be so much fun to watch. It's going to be so much fun to watch between the Tampa offense and the Rams defense. It's going to come down to, I think it's going to come down to who makes less mistakes on defense. And I think the Rams right now are the team that makes the least mistakes on defense because they're so good up front. Their front seven's good. Their secondary is very good. Secondary is very good. I see it's a close game. I think the Rams will win. It's going to be a close game. I think it'll come down to a late turnover, a turnover late in the game, and the Rams will create it and they'll want to take in the game. And what I think is going to be the matchup, the potential matchup for the NFC Championship. I foresee that. I had a future. Look at that future, and that's why I foresee as my champion. But I think it's going to be. I think the champion's going to be LA. It's going to be in Tampa Bay. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, so take the Rams in this one. Seattle at Minnesota. Oh man, Seattle should have clinched that game against the Titans last week. They couldn't quite get their foot on the throats of the Titans. Minnesota's kicking game is suspect. It's gonna be a tough one. I think Minnesota gets their first win in the season. Excuse me. I'm taking the Vikings in this one. And if you're watching at home, it's the end of the third inning. Yankees are up 7-0 over the Red Sox. All right. Yeah, Seattle, Minnesota. I'm gonna take Minnesota. I think Minnesota will win a close one. Their kicking game just can't mess up. They can't mess up this one. Sunday night game, Green Bay at San Francisco. I went the 49ers because Green Bay is such a Jekyll and Hyde team this year so far. They got the brakes beat off them against the Saints. They come back and they beat the Lions. They had to kind of claw back, no pun intended, because Lions kind of claw back in that one. But it's at San Francisco. They got to travel there. I think San Francisco just their defense is better. I think they'll limit Aaron Rodgers. Maybe throw a couple picks. So I'm thinking the Niners. And the Monday night game, Philly at Dallas. I got Dallas. I don't take Dallas in that one. Dallas is having they've kept things close, but their defense is better this year. Philly is all right. They moved the ball last week, but they couldn't put points on the board for some reason against San Francisco. So I'm gonna take Dallas in this one. So those are my picks. So with that, I'm gonna wrap things up for this edition of No Credentials Required Friday Happy Hour, brought to you by Belly Up Sports in association with Godzilla Media. Again, go to the socials, Twitter and Instagram at BellyUpNCR, Facebook.com/BellyUpSportsNCR, and then finally YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell. You know when we go live. So, folks, enjoy yourselves. Have a great weekend. To Arthur, take care. Cheers.